there are several events that I attend, and one of them is on Fridays. And recently, they were talking about the Mali domain extension, which I believe is the ML, I believe. And ML stands for machine learning. So that extension is going crazy. Now, the challenge people have, again, in the so-called Western world, again, I hate to say this, they're ignorant, is that they are saying, well, the government is not stable. Well, the internet is not stable. Well, people are, poor. And I have to shut them up every now and then and say, no, you really have no idea what you're talking about. You live in a bubble and you think that is the rest of the world. You're 5% of the world. That said, just Africa alone is 1.2 billion people, and it's still growing. Nigeria is 200 million. Look at the Chinese. So you did an excellent job. I would have loved, honestly, for you to be on every talk show radio in the United States and Europe, because they need to know this stuff. Because the domain is going to change life as we know it. Ready or not, it doesn't really matter. And I think it's a matter of time, like I told Mr. Roberts earlier, that the white people, they're going to buy up all these domain names in Africa, just like the Chinese is doing, buying up all these lands. And then when you have to buy, you have to rent from these people a sub-domain name, not even the domain names. And people say, if I knew what I know today in 1997, I would have. But here's the truth. Now you do. What is your problem? Because you can't afford a single word domain .com. You can't. Your highest offer is actually the lowest offer. And your best opportunity is the CCTLD, because people who live outside of the United States doesn't care about .com. I have seen instances where the .net is taken in Asia and the .com is available for a publicly traded company. So .com is not the king. But folks who live in the US or Canada just fail to understand that. So in my opinion, Africa is the place to be. The domain name is the place to be. Okay, this is off the subject. When I bought the land and I took my wife, who's American, to Nigeria, she said she wants to live in a village, not the city. That doesn't make any sense. She said because it's quieter, less people begging for money. People have to get in the car to travel to where you are. So the point is, Africa is the next frontier, so it's all the domain name. And when I attend all this event and people talk about African domain names, it's amazing. It's really fascinating. So I think people like you, Bob, Mr. Bob, seriously should be in every show. Let these people know. And I promise you, there are investors who spend between $500,000 and $1 million in domain names, and then develop a website for real services. So .com was never the king. That is a false pretense that we have in the United States. Even Canadians prefer the .ca than .com. So you see, so the rest of the world is moving forward, while the US is still backward, and I hate to say it, but that is the truth. We live in a bubble. So I think Africa is the next frontier. This is the undeveloped, untapped continent and resources. And the sooner you get on board, we don't even have any choice. Every African, if you ask me, should own their last name or their first name. When you submit your resume to or CV to any job, it should have your name, wherever country on that resume. Because here's what I believe. Social media give and they take away. If you don't believe me, ask Donald Trump. They give and they take away. I don't care who you are. Thank you, Mr. Roberts.